If you're listening, welcome to Uplifting and Transforming discussions around faith, love, and lifestyle. Hit the follow and subscribe button to be the first to know when new episodes are released. Now, enjoy this episode, relax, listen, and be edified. Hello. Hi. Thank you for tuning in to the Edify podcast with Efe, and you are welcome. This episode will be very, very informative. I hope, hopefully instructive in some manner, but listen and enjoy. Today's episode is basically a run through of all the lessons that I learned in 2024, or all the major lessons that I learned in 2024. 2024 was a bit of a difficult year. I won't say a difficult year. It wasn't the year I expected or planned to see. However, I would still say bless God because I learned a lot in 2024, and I hope you did too. Like, even if your 2024 wasn't rosy or how you expected it to go when you started the year, still be grateful and look back and pick the lessons that God showed you. I hope we did our reflections of the year before we came into 2025, screaming it's a new year, my year of testimony, my year of this, my year of that. Reflection is very important because when you reflect, you have moments and opportunities to be grateful to God. So here are a few lessons that I learned in 2024. First, and the one that stuck out to me the most was, Ife, you are not always correct. This one really hit me because I've always been the intelligent kid. Yes, like I've always been the kid who would have 100, would even collect 15 from the teacher and have 115. I've always been first. I've always been an excellent student because I knew how to study and understand principles, processes, and all that. And I could cram. If you're looking for a crammer, it's me. Like, I had such a photogenic brain that once I read the thing 2 or 3 times, I would remember it word for word. And there was an exam I actually wrote, and the lecturer was like, "Did you use the textbook?" I was like, "I studied the textbook, but it wasn't with me in the exam hall." But yeah, I was always correct. That's the point is, I've always been the child who was always correct, or always excellent, or always good, So I always thought I knew it all. But my dears, sorry to burst my bubble in 2024. I did not know it all. I found myself having to learn things like a child all over again. I had to be patient with myself, extremely patient with myself. And I was going through like both a geographical move and a mental shift. They say your frontal lobe is developing. So that was what was happening to me in 2024. I had to reorient my mindset for a lot of things. So I learned that I'm not always correct. And even the little knowledge or the big knowledge I think I have about some certain topics, still, I don't know it all. God knows it all. And there are people who probably know it more or better than me, right? So I need to humble myself. I did a Bible reading with one of my friends last year. And one major thing that stood out to me, we're reading Corinthians, was that knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. And that is going to be my mantra in 2025. With every knowledge that I have gained, with every knowledge that I will gain, I will seek to build up. And that is one major reason why we are here and doing this podcast and this show. I'm seeking ways actively to use the knowledge that I gain to build others up. Not to be puffed up and think that I know it all. So even the proverb says, "Do not be wise in your eyes." So I'm learning daily that I do not know it all. And what this means for me is to learn to trust God. You know, I'm a very logical person. So now learning that I can't be logical about every single thing, but even though I know the numbers, I know everything, I still need to trust God. So that's one major lesson I learned in 2024. The second one is embrace failure. Like they go hand in hand actually. You don't know it all, plus embrace failure. I found myself failing, like in a lot of things and for a lot of situations that I don't think I should experience. But it felt like failure. But to some people, it's progress, you know. So I've come to embrace that failure is actually an opportunity to learn. It's not an opportunity to beat yourself down. It's not an opportunity to say you're the worst and that you're a failure. No, it's an opportunity to learn. So I see moments of failure and I'm a bit happy and excited because I know I'm going to learn something new. I know I'm going to reorient my mindset. I know I'm going to become better out of that process. So I have come to embrace failure. The third lesson is as you learn, apply it immediately. You know, when they used to teach us when we were much younger, when you're done with your class, your teacher will give you an assignment. That assignment is a bit more complicated than what they taught you. They taught you 1 plus 1. They'll now tell you, okay, A plus B minus C times 10 raised to the power of X. That kind of stuff, right? So there was a reason behind all of that. You know, when there's a saying that I can't remember exactly how it goes, but if I tell you to do something, it's not, you won't do it as much as if I showed you to do it. And even when I show you how to do it, you won't do it as best as when I do it with you. You know, so immediately I learned something, I learned a new lesson. Maybe I learned to be more patient with certain people, or I learned that, oh, with God, you know, this is the procedure with God. Say, going into God's presence, a procedure is being grateful. When I learned that, okay, that's a procedure with God, I have to learn to apply it immediately. If not, for me, I will forget. So that's a key lesson I learned. As I learn things, I must apply immediately. Find ways to apply that knowledge that I've just gained. Another thing I learned about myself, fortunately, unfortunately, whatever, I love love. What I mean, I love love. I don't mean the romantic movies that we watch, you know, where someone is falling in love with a girl that they just met, love at first sight. No, I mean, I love love in its true and authentic form, the way God actually loves us. I love when I see people who are truly in love as Christ loves, that sacrificial love. I love it. And I love to receive love and give love. So those are the things I learned about myself. I used to always think I was a hard guy, but bruh, I'm the biggest softie. So I love love. I love God's love, both in the conventional and the unconventional ways. The soft love that we are all, you know, screaming about, soft love, soft life, and also love when God is being a dad and disciplining me. I love that love as well. So that's what I mean by I love love. Next, Effie, you need to war with prophecy. This is from me. This is a lesson I learned, and I'm sharing with you. But you need to war with prophecy. What does that mean? Say a man of God comes up to you and tells you, oh, in the next 5 to 10 years, this is what God will be doing in your life. This. You become the richest man in Canada by doing these businesses. You don't just take that prophecy and sit on it. You don't just take that word and just put it in your hands and say, God will do it. You gotta war with it. And what warring looks like is you have to pray. You have to pray prayer of agreement. You have to pray prayer of request, asking for wisdom on what you must do to play your part for that prophecy to come to pass. You have to search scripture and see where God had done that thing with someone else and what you can glean from that person's life to apply in your own life such that the prophecy comes to pass. The reason why this really was a big lesson for me in 2024 is because ending of 2023, entering 2024, God had given me a lot of promises. I'm a dreamer, so I'd seen a lot of dreams about things that will happen for myself and even other people. For other people, it was happening. For me, not so much. And I'm like, what is happening? And then I stumbled upon a message. I don't remember who now, whether Stephanie Ike or Apostle Emmanuel Aaron, and they were saying that you don't like prophecy is a declaration of what God wants to do in your life. However, it can be conditional and unconditional. I think it was Apostle Emmanuel Aaron that said that, and that stood out to me. It really struck a chord in my heart. And since I heard that, like, I know now better what I must do with every word of prophecy that I receive. But also, you must test it, make sure that it's from God as well. But yeah, war with it, pray through it, agree with God in prayer, see yourself as God sees you, partner with God and ask Him what you must do, and do those things. Don't just take those instructions and sit on them, because that is another thing I did. I did the first two parts. I tested it to make sure it was God, and then I asked God what to do. I thanked Him for what I asked Him to do, and He downloaded. God will always speak. That's one thing I've come to learn about Him. He downloaded. He gave me a lot of information, but I just sat on it. I didn't do anything with it because, I just assumed it would happen. But no, you actually have a part to play. So you need to ask God how, when, with who, why, and what must I do? And then you must agree with Him, and then study other people and also learn from their life, the good things, the bad things they did, and so that you don't make their mistakes as well. You can learn from other people's experience, so yeah, that's a lesson I learned. Another key lesson I learned, oh my god, as a millennial, was that you are responsible for your life. Like, when you grow up, the sense of responsibility from your parents starts to shift from them to you. You're responsible for your goals. You're responsible for where you see yourself. You're responsible for how people see you. You're responsible for what you want and how people approach you. You're responsible for how you treat yourself, and also sometimes how people treat you. Now, what do I mean? For me in 2024, I was, like I said, frontal lobe being developed, coming to understand who I was as a person, coming to understand what I stood for as a person, coming to understand how I want people to see me, how I want people to treat me. Yes, you're supposed to be humble and all those things, but you actually can control the narrative of your life. You're actually responsible to do that. So I noticed that there are different people who saw me, they esteemed me like one madam, big oga, big boss. And there's some people who just didn't know where to put me. And there's some people who completely disrespected me as well. And you will always have that experience with different people. But I found that a majority of people were overestimating who I thought or I perceived myself as. So it's one, either they knew something about me that I didn't know about myself, or two, I was living below my potential or much more above, my, worth or value of my potential or who I am. So I realized, okay, I probably need to control the narrative. So I need to take control of how I speak, how I behave, how I project myself to people, and the boundaries in my life. I was telling some friends that I have no boundaries. Literally, I have no boundaries. I'm the kind of person who will enter a room and leave the door open, or even in my house, leave the door open in my room. Like, the door is always open with me. I've always been an open person, but I'm coming to learn that you need to really set boundaries, and boundaries are healthy. They're to protect you from the things that will go against your worth, will go against your values, will go against how people should treat you. So that's one thing I really learned, and I'm learning to set and enforce boundaries, no matter how difficult it is. But yeah, it has to be done. Another lesson that I learned was that be quick to show love instead of. So what this means for me in the context of this lesson was I should be quick to show love even when people upset me. If I really say I'm a daughter of the Most High God, if I really say I'm an ambassador for Christ, if I really say that I am a believer, if I really say these things about myself and believe them about myself, I should also, portray it in my day to day life. So if someone upsets you, instead of reacting in anger and bitterness, I noticed that I struggled with, because when I'm done doing that thing, when I'm done maybe saying my mind, or when I'm done being rude or whatever, I would not, in my heart, like my conscience and the Holy Spirit is saying, but if that's not what you believe or say you believe in, that's not who you profess yourself to be, especially when you come and stand in the place of prayer. So I had to learn to be quick to show love. It's a process, it's a journey for me, but daily, instead of being angry immediately, try to understand the person's position, try to understand why they're behaving the way they're behaving. What can I do to actually placate them? There's a proverb that says, a harsh a harsh answer would bring strife, but a soft word would, settle, will dispel a quarrel that's about to happen. So that's something that I learned, and I will continue to learn even in 2025. And then the last lesson that I learned of 2024 is, don't hold yourself back because of fear or anybody. I realized I could do whatever I set my mind to do. Me, if I determine I'm going to do that thing, I will do it all. Nobody can talk me out of it as long as I've determined my mind to it. However, there were moments I doubted myself, because people that I had trusted so much, loved so much, admired so much, would either talk down on my dreams, talk down on what I proposed to do. So it really affected me a lot. So a lesson I've learned is, even if I share this dream with someone or this vision with someone and they talk me down, instead of feeling discouraged or maybe this thing doesn't make sense, I've decided I will do it. Even if I look stupid, I will do it at the end of the day. Let me learn from that thing that I want to do first. As long as it's a good thing, let me learn from it, instead of to back down because someone discouraged me, or someone doubts whatever it is that I want to do. So those are key lessons that I learned, and I will be applying these lessons throughout my journey in 2025. I've written them down in a notepad to remember and to always reflect upon. And I hope you enjoy this episode. In all your goal setting for 2025, please reflect on your year of 2024. It's a whole 365 days of the things you did and didn't do to learn from. In project management, there's something called lessons learned. Is to optimize businesses so that businesses are better. You should apply it in your life as well. Go back, look at lessons you learned and apply them in 2025. And that leads me to my next and the last part, goal setting. Your goal setting for 2025. Try make smart goals. Don't make wishes. Wishes are, I want to lose weight. Make a goal. In the first quarter of 2025, I want to be consistent with working out. That's a goal. And how the plan to achieve that goal is, I set an alarm to go to the gym. I set an alarm to take a 15 minutes or 30 minutes walk. That's your plan to achieve that goal. So make SMART goals. SMART actually has an acronym that has a meaning: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. There's also this goal setting hack where you do it per quarter, because when you do it per quarter, you know that there's a deadline to actually measure your progress. I'm not saying it will push you into achieving your goal, but you'll be more mindful in the things that you do to achieve your goal. Like one goal of mine last year that I didn't finish was reading books. I think I probably told someone I want to read 12 books for the 12 months of 2024. But I ended up reading probably like 3 books. But that's because my goal was just a wish. I didn't have a plan. Like, my plan would have been to take 1 book per month, but I didn't execute the plan further by identifying books that I want to read. So this year, what I've done is I actually want to read a lot of books. I've actually built out a schedule for the books. I've gone to research books I want to read based on areas of my life I want to improve, or areas of God and spiritual life that I want to learn more about. So be smart in your goal setting, but make sure you look back. Be grateful for the lessons learned and apply them while setting your goals. I hope this episode blessed you. Remember to like, share, hit the subscribe or follow button based on where you're listening from. And I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Bye now.